Response will be scored on your ability to speak clearly and coherently about the topics.
Okay, so we will be recording just like the other video. Remember, this video is not from me. I was not the creator of this video. I took this one from the YouTube, the simulation. Okay, so let's roll it.
Your response and 45 seconds to speak. If you could have any job or career you wanted, which would you choose and why? Give specific details to explain your response.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
If I can choose a job, I think I want to be an IT man, and the first reason for this is because I think the IT man is the high paid job, and as an intern, I can earn about 8,000 to 10,000 yuan, and if I just choose another job, maybe it's about 1 to 2,000 yuan. And the second reason for this is because I really like writing code and doing such things. Because when I'm a child, I really like playing robots. And if we want to play a robot, we need to write some code. So that's the reason why I really want to be an IT man if I can choose a job.
Number 2. In this question, you will be asked to give your opinion about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 seconds to speak. Some people who unexpectedly receive a large amount of money spend it on practical things, while others spend it for pleasure only. Which do you think is better and why?
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
For me, if I unexpectedly receive a large amount of money, I think I will just do it for pleasure things only. By and large, we all have stress from our works, and sometimes we also have the peer pressure, and we have so much stress, so we really need to relax. And I think just to pleasure is the best way to do it. And the second reason is I can make a lot of friends when I'm pleasure. For example, sometimes I just go to restaurant with my friends, and that will close my relationship with my friend.
Number 3. In this question, you will read a short passage about a campus situation and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. A student has written a letter to the editor of City University's newspaper concerning the campus health center. You have 50 seconds to read the letter. Begin reading now. listen to two students discussing the letter.
Did you read that letter in the paper?
Sure. And though she's right about the problems, I don't think what she proposes will do much good.
Really?
Yeah. Take her first suggestion. I mean, have you seen the health center?
Of course. Why?
Well, it's tiny, right? The center suffers from lack of space, so unless they build more treatment rooms or offices or something.
Oh, I see.
And also, her second suggestion?
Seems like that'll help things out.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, think about it. A lot of students aren't even here on the weekends.
That's true.
They leave town and get away. There's not a lot of people here.
Yeah, like me. I go home probably at least twice a month.
Right. And a lot of us leave campus for the weekend even more often than that. So there's just not a lot of demand for treatment then. See what I mean?
The man expresses his opinion about the student's suggestions that are made in the letter. State the man's opinion and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
The students proposed that the university should improve their health, university health service by employing two strategies. And the first is just to hire more doctors, and the second is the health service should open on the weekend, should serve on the weekend. But the man in the conversation wholeheartedly disagree with such statements by employing two strategies. By and large, the office is very small, so it's lack of space. So the school don't have enough space to hire more doctors. And the second is that there's not a lot of students who will stay in the school during the weekend, and that's the true reasons why.
Number 4. In this question, you will read a short passage on an academic subject and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now read the passage about social loafing. You have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
Now, a study was done that illustrated this phenomenon. In the study, people were given an ordinary task that everyone has probably done before. They were simply asked to peel potatoes, and to peel as many potatoes as possible in a given amount of time. Okay, so some people worked alone, and they were told that the number of potatoes they each peeled would be recorded. Others peeled potatoes together as part of a group, and they were told that only the total number of potatoes peeled would be recorded. So it would be impossible to tell how many any one person had done. Then researchers compared the results of the people who worked alone and those that worked together to see if there was any difference. That is, they took the average score of the people working alone and compared it to the average score of the people working together in a group. And they did discover a difference. It turns out that people working as a group peeled significantly fewer potatoes than people who worked alone.
Using the example from the lecture, explain what social loafing is and how it affects people's behavior.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep.
People who has less motivated and decreasing personal efforts. In the lecture,
Preparation time.
Example. I know it's the preparation. I'm just practice. In the first by bringing an example pure potato work along and
Begin speaking after the beep.
Well, the passage is mainly talking about the social loafing, which refers to people has less motivated and decreasing personal efforts. And in the lecture, the professor gives us an example about a study about pure potatoes. And there's two groups of people. The first group is the people who will walk along to peel the potatoes, and the second group, they will work together and they will the researchers will evaluate how much potato each one has peeled, and the result is totally different, and it shows that people who work together peel potato is fewer than who just peel the potato alone.
Number 5. In this question, you will listen to a conversation. You will then be asked to talk about the information in the conversation and to give your opinion about the ideas presented. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Listen to part of a conversation between two students.
Hey, Steve, did you get that book on the Russian Revolution Professor Harper wants us to read?
No, none of the bookstores in the campus area had it in stock. They'll get it in about 2 weeks.
So what are you going to do in the meantime? Remember, we're going to be discussing the book starting next Tuesday.
Well, I was thinking of placing a rush order with a bookseller on the internet, so I'd have the book in about a day or 2.
Yeah, but rush order delivery is expensive. You could easily spend twice as much money for the book that way.
I know, but what choice do I have?
Well, since we only have to read a few chapters at a time, you're welcome to share my copy for a few weeks. You know, until you can get yours at the bookstore.
You mean you would read the chapters assigned, give the book to me, I'd read those chapters, then give the book back to you to read the next set of chapters, and so on?
Exactly.
Thanks, but what if I don't get the book back to you in time? Wouldn't you get behind in your reading?
Yeah, maybe, but it should work if we're careful.
The students discuss 2 possible solutions to the man's problem. Briefly summarize the problem, then state which of the 2 solutions you prefer and explain why.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Well, the main conversation need to buy a book, but it's not available in the school bookstore, but they need to discuss the book during the next Tuesday. The man has 2 possible solutions. The first is just to buy it off campus, and it will be really expensive. And the second is just to share the woman's copy. And for me, I highly recommend that the second solution will be better for the following reasons. Firstly, they can work it together, and they can work it safe, and they can work it together and read each chapter to each other, and if it will work, and if the man chooses the second solution, it will be really expensive, and maybe the man can't afford it. So that's the reason why I think the second solution will be better.
Number 6. In this question, you will listen to a short lecture. You will then be asked to summarize important information from the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now listen to part of a talk in a psychology class.
Okay, ever thought about the things that happen to you and what's responsible for them? We psychologists have a term, locus of control. Locus of control refers to where people think control over their lives comes from, whether it comes from themselves or from somewhere else. People who think that control is in themselves are internals, and people who think it comes from somewhere else are externals. Let's say there are two people going for job interviews. One of them is an internal. She has an internal locus of control. Since she thinks that control comes from within herself, she'll believe that her success and her preparation are really her responsibility. So she's likely to really work on her interview skills ahead of time. Then, if she gets the job, she'll believe that it's because she's worked so hard. And if she doesn't get it, well, she'll probably be disappointed with herself and try to figure out how she can improve for the next time. Okay, and another job candidate is an external. He perceives other things, say his interviewers, to have more influence. After all, it's their decision. It depends on what mood they're in and, luck. Now, with his external locus of control, he's not as hard on himself, so he's more likely to take risks. He might interview for a job that he's not completely qualified for, and if he gets it, he'll think he's really lucky, and because he believes external forces are in control, he might think it's because the interviewers were having a good day. And if he doesn't get it, he'll probably blame the interviewers, or bad luck, rather than look at himself and try to figure out what he could have done better.
Using points and examples from the talk, explain internal and external locus of control.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Where the lecture is talking about the locus of control, and there's two kind of control. The first is the internal one, and the second is external one. Let's talk about the external one first. And if a man wants to take a risk to get a job which he is not really qualified, and if he get a job, he will think it's really lucky, and that means he is really lucky. And if he didn't get a job, maybe he will think it's a bad luck, and maybe he will think how to do it better in the next time. And the second is about internal control. There's a woman, for example, want to get a job, and if she can get it, it will really disappoint